You know what's wild? While Anakin was out there doing flashy spins and aggressive strikes, Obi-Wan Kenobi defeated a Sith Lord, trained Luke Skywalker, and survived Order 66 by doing something that sounds incredibly boring on paper. He just stood there and blocked stuff. But here's the thing that most fans miss. Obi-Wan wasn't just blocking. He was playing 4D chess while everyone else was playing checkers. His defensive style, Form III Soresu, wasn't a limitation. It was the most strategically brilliant combat philosophy in the entire Star Wars universe. And today I'm going to show you exactly why. Let me take you back to Obi-Wan's early days as Qui-Gon Jinn's apprentice. When we first meet him in The Phantom Menace, he's using Form 4, Ataru, the same acrobatic, aggressive style as his master. And you know what happens? Qui-Gon gets killed by Darth Maul. Obi-Wan barely defeats Maul, and only through a desperate offensive maneuver fueled by rage and surprise. That moment fundamentally changed Obi-Wan. He realized something that would define his entire career. Aggression creates openings, and openings get you killed. So he made a choice that went against every instinct of a young, talented Jedi. He abandoned the flashy, kinetic style he'd been trained in and devoted himself entirely to mastering Soresu, the most defensive form of lightsaber combat. Now, Soresu was actually developed in response to a very specific problem: blasters. After the invention of ranged weapons, Jedi needed a form that could deflect multiple shots from multiple angles, indefinitely. The philosophy was simple but profound. Create a defensive sphere around yourself that's completely impenetrable. Then wait for your opponent to make a mistake. No wasted movement, no unnecessary risks, just pure, patient survival. And Obi-Wan didn't just learn Soresu. According to the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, he became the absolute master of it, the best practitioner in the entire Jedi Order. His defense wasn't just good, it was mathematically perfect. Here's where it gets really interesting. Most people think defense is passive, but Obi-Wan's Soresu was aggressively defensive. Let me explain what that means. Every lightsaber form has strengths and weaknesses. Form Vav Gemso, which Anakin used, is incredibly powerful and great for overpowering opponents, but it requires stamina, and it creates small openings during those heavy strikes. Form 2, Makashi, Count Dooku's style, is elegant and efficient for dueling, but it's designed for one-on-one combat and struggles against multiple opponents or blaster fire. Form Sev, Yuyo, is devastatingly aggressive, but it requires channeling emotion and can make practitioners lose control. Soresu has none of these weaknesses. Its only supposed drawback is that it lacks offensive capability, but Obi-Wan turned that limitation into his greatest weapon. How? By making his opponents defeat themselves. Think about his fight with General Grievous. Grievous has 4 lightsabers, can spin them at inhuman speeds, and has killed multiple Jedi. He's designed to be overwhelming. But what does Obi-Wan do? He doesn't try to match Grievous's aggression. He simply maintains his defensive form, staying completely calm, blocking every strike with minimal movement. And what happens? Grievous gets frustrated, overextends, and Obi-Wan disarms him, literally, cutting off 2 of his hands in one economical motion. The general was defeated not by superior offense, but by his own impatience against an impenetrable defense. This pattern repeats throughout Obi-Wan's career. Against Darth Maul on Naboo, he survives the initial onslaught. Against Jango Fett on Kamino, he endures a barrage of blaster fire and weapons, while barely counterattacking. On Utapau, he faces an army of battle droids and simply deflects shots until opportunities emerge. But the ultimate proof comes in his duel with Anakin on Mustafar. This is the fight that demonstrates why Soresu was the perfect form for Obi-Wan, and honestly, it's one of the most strategically fascinating duels in cinema. Let's break down what's really happening on Mustafar, because this isn't just a tragic fight between brothers. It's a clinic in how defense defeats offense. Anakin, Now Darth Vader is using Form 5 at its absolute peak. He's stronger than Obi-Wan, faster, more powerful in the Force, and he's channeling the dark side, which amplifies his physical abilities. By every measurable metric, Anakin should win this fight in under a minute. But he doesn't. The duel goes on for nearly 10 minutes of screen time, much longer in the novelization, and Obi-Wan never loses control. Here's what Obi-Wan understands that Anakin doesn't. Soresu practitioners don't try to win quickly. They wait. The Revenge of the Sith novelization describes Obi-Wan's mindset during this fight perfectly. He's not trying to strike Anakin down. He's simply maintaining his defense, staying alive, and waiting for Anakin's aggression to create an opening. And Anakin, fueled by dark side rage and arrogance, keeps attacking with more and more fury. Every massive strike drains his stamina. Every aggressive combination creates tiny gaps in his defense. Obi-Wan sees all of it, but he doesn't take the bait. He knows that if he shifts to offense prematurely, Anakin's superior power will overwhelm him. Watch the fight carefully. Obi-Wan's footwork is constantly moving backward or laterally. He's not retreating out of fear. He's controlling distance and managing angles. When they're fighting on the floating platforms, Obi-Wan positions himself strategically, using the environment to limit Anakin's options. This is Soresu philosophy, applied to three-dimensional space. The turning point comes at the riverbank. Obi-Wan takes the high ground, and fans have memed this moment to death, but there's real tactical significance here. By taking the elevated position, Obi-Wan has compressed Anakin's attack angles. Any jump or strike Anakin makes will be predictable, and give Obi-Wan a guaranteed counterattack window. It's a trap disguised as terrain. Anakin, blinded by pride and anger, attacks anyway. And Obi-Wan, for the first time in the entire fight, switches from pure defense to a single decisive offensive strike. One move. That's all it takes, because Anakin created the opening, and Obi-Wan simply existed in the right place at the right moment to exploit it. But here's what makes Obi-Wan's mastery of Soresu so brilliant beyond just combat. It perfectly reflects who he is as a Jedi and as a person. The Jedi Code emphasizes patience, self-control, and defense of others rather than aggression. Soresu embodies these principles completely. It's not about dominating your opponent, it's about outlasting them. It's not about proving you're stronger, it's about being immovable in your principles. Obi-Wan understood that true strength isn't the ability to destroy your enemies. It's the ability to survive anything they throw at you, while never compromising who you are. This philosophy serves him throughout his entire life. When he's hiding on Tatooine, he doesn't hunt down Imperial forces or try to restart the Jedi Order. He waits, maintaining his vigil, protecting Luke from a distance. When he faces Vader again on the Death Star, he doesn't try to defeat him. He maintains his defense, teaches Luke one final lesson about sacrifice, and becomes more powerful than Vader could possibly imagine. Even in the Kenobi series, decades after his prime, when he's broken and disconnected from the Force, what brings him back? Not aggression, not revenge, but the need to defend, to protect Leia. His identity as a defensive fighter isn't just a combat style, it's his entire worldview. So the next time someone tells you Obi-Wan's fighting style is boring, or that defensive characters aren't as cool as aggressive ones, I want you to remember this. Obi-Wan Kenobi, through pure defense and patience, survived the Clone Wars, defeated both Darth Maul and General Grievous, stalemated the Chosen One at his peak power, and lived long enough to set Luke Skywalker on the path to saving the galaxy. Form III Soresu didn't make Obi-Wan weak. It made him inevitable. Because when you can't be broken, can't be rushed, and can't be beaten through attrition, eventually your opponent has to make a mistake. And when they do, one strike is all you need. May the Force be with you. And remember, sometimes the most powerful move is knowing when not to strike at all.